Afternoon-ish. Hi. Hello. Hi. Welcome to Woodland Pond. My name is Michelle Gramolia. Hopefully you can all hear me. I am the president and CEO here at the community, and I hope that you have all settled in a bit. Please feel free to keep eating. Thank you very much for coming to the community today, despite the haze and the weird weather. I guess it's yet another strange thing that keeps happening in our world these days. And thank you to all the residents for coming to our resident panel luncheon. I trust that today will be very fun for all of you and interesting. This is an event that we've done for, I don't know, a couple of years now, right, Shannon?
I think at least 6.
6 years?
Yeah.
Oh, good. We used to do a different style of, panel type lunches where we put up a PowerPoint and, give you information about Woodland Pond. Very droll. Not interesting. People found it, we put facts up and, but it was kind of boring. And this is just much more interesting. Residents will tell you about how they came to Woodland Pond, and I think it goes really well. But just a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Michelle Gramolia. I've actually been here at the community since we opened. So Woodland Pond opened in 2009, so we'll be 14 years old in September. I started on the finance side here at the community. I'm local to the area, and I became first the executive director and then the CEO starting in 2013. So Woodland Pond is kind of like my baby. But definitely home to me, and most of our executive team has been here for many years, so very special place to all of us. It really is like a family, and we really try to be welcoming. So I hope that you enjoy the day. I won't go on and on, although I could. They'll tell you I could go on and on, but I will let them go on and on. I hope you get a lot out of this today, and I will hand the mic over to Paul, and he will get started. Enjoy.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. I have been here now almost 6 years, and I came with a little bit of hesitation because I lived in my home for some 44 years and did not want to live in an apartment. And within days of coming here, I had made new friends. I cannot believe how quickly I adapted to apartment living and how much I still love it. I said when I came here that I was not going to join any committees. I've had them all in my career. No committees, please. I'm now on 5 and love every one of them. If the place will keep you busy, if you want to be busy, keep you relaxed if you want to be relaxed. We looked at 6 of these continuing care communities before moving here. We had 2 lawyers, one of whom was a relative who specialized in elder care, and 2 accountants. Look at all the numbers for each of the key, each except for one CCRC. Woodland Pond won hands down in terms of protection, financial, health services, etc. I can't tell you how excited I am to still be living here. We also compared expenses, as I was telling Milton here. Those expenses, I think we were $72 more a month by coming here. After we sold our house, gave up all the taxes and the snow plowing and everything else. So in that sense, it was a great financial decision. Let's see. Friends and activities. There are 40 some odd special interest groups, never mind the committees that I'm on. If you have any interest at all, whether it is music, the wood shop, politics, discussions in general, even a new philosophy group, you're going to find your home here and voices that will be of interest to you. I was told to keep it down to 3 minutes by Dick Barry at the end, so I'll close by saying my favorite place is the wood shop. If any of you here are interested in woodworking and doing crafts, because right underneath the dining room here is a very, very good wood shop, owned and managed by the residents here, an important distinction. And we, those men who love the wood shop, end up being the handyman for a number of the residents here. I'll turn the mic over now to my wife, unless you have specific questions. Or I guess we're saving the questions.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn Sullivan, and I'm married to this guy. And I am really glad you're here. I wanted to tell you about my morning. I woke up this morning and I discovered that all the peonies that I had put out were dropping their petals. So I spent some time filling my compost bin with peony petals. They're very soft and very beautiful. I'm a gardener, and I have a number of gardens here at Woodland Pond, which I developed over the years that we've been here following. But when we first came here, I was still working. So the first year, I was driving down to Pomona to serve a Unitarian congregation as their minister. Yes. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do about it. I'm as close to the mic as I can be. Let me try the other one. Further away. Further away. How's that? Better. Thank you. Okay. So I was working when I first came here. And I was not as involved in the community because I had work to do outside. And then I stopped working. I retired, and I decided that I was going to consult with Michelle Gormolia, who was here a minute ago, about what I should do. And she said, don't join a lot of committees right away. The first thing you should do is just stop and be retired. So I did that for a little while. And she asked me what I was interested in, and I said I was interested in sustainability. So from that seed, eventually a sustainability committee was founded here. And the sustainability committee has been one of my main preoccupations, my husband will tell you, since I started working with them. The gardens are part of my everyday life, and the other thing that I do here at Woodland Pond is sing. I'm in the chorus. There's a chorus called the Pondoliers, and this week happens to be our concert week. So we had a concert on Monday, we'll have a concert tonight, and we have a concert on Friday afternoon. We're a group of about 30 people. Some of them have never sung in chorus before and don't read music, and some of them are very accomplished musicians. So it's a very interesting group to develop repertoire for, and we have a wonderful time. I love living here. I love the people I'm with, and I love the opportunities I have. And it's one of the most beautiful physical places that I've ever been. So I welcome you, and we are happy to answer your questions. And now I will turn my microphone over to my good friend, Dave.
I don't know if I need a mic. My name is Ted Bewley. I'm a 10-year veteran of Woodland Pond. I've been at many of these dinners and talked to a lot of prospective customers. And I periodically hear a phrase, gee, this is a nice place and we're impressed, but we're not quite ready. What does that mean? Not quite ready. You're able to see into the future and take the appropriate actions so that you never have a problem. I don't think so. I want to tell you a story. a couple was living in their home. She had very early stages of memory loss, perhaps leading to dementia. And they decided that she better do something about that. So they moved into a continuing care retirement. And the husband just couldn't let the wife go into the memory unit. Had to hold on. He wanted to take care of her. Well, one morning he woke up and he wasn't feeling quite right. And luckily there was a day nurse. And he called the day nurse. He said, you know, I'm not feeling quite good. She said, she looked at him, she said, you need to go to the hospital. And of course, we stubborn men said, oh, not me. You know, hey, I'm going to be okay. She said, you need to go to the hospital. I'm telling you. 10 minutes later, he was in an ambulance going to Vassar and was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. Almost died that night. They immediately took action, moved the wife into the memory care where she always should have been, but he couldn't let go. She received wonderful care. After 17 days in the hospital, he made it through. He came back to Woodland Pond and spent 12 days in the health center in rehabilitation. He was able to see his wife each day that he was there. And at the end of the 12 days, he returned to his home. And again, able to be with his wife every day. Guess whose story that is? Mine. My story emphasizes the benefits of continuing care retirement. Let's assume for a moment that I wasn't here and that I was in my home. What would have happened or could have happened? I could have died. Or the children would have to be called in an emergency. Husband's in the hospital. The children have to get care for their mother. Is it based on study of the best facility? No, it's based on availability. So you end up maybe not where you want to be, but the only place that had availability. The CCRC, so that you can select a retirement plan of your choice. In addition to independent living, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the health center. The health center offers the 3 basic healthcare needs: assisted living, a memory unit, and skilled nursing. And by the way, in addition, a rehabilitation unit. Woodland Pond healthcare staffing levels compared to New York State and the nation are superior. You have the option to select the plan that you want. There are various plan options. And by the way, Woodland Pond is the first and only CCRC nationwide to receive the LGBTQ Healthcare Equity leadership status, and that was done in 2018. That's my story. Anyone have a question? Thank you.
Good morning. Over a year ago, 3 of our kids gave us the talk. Kind of like the birds and the bees talk we gave them, but at the other end of life. They said they thought it was time for us to figure out where we might want to go when we were ready to give up our house and get rid of your stuff. A couple of weeks later, Marty, my husband, sitting here, had an aha moment. He said, thinking of pride as a relative term, there are 3 times in your life when you want to be in your pride. First is when you really are. Second is in middle age when you might have a job change or a partner change might occur. And the third is right now. We are active, we are healthy. So now is the perfect time to make a move. The time to make new friends is when you can do things with them. Go out to restaurants, take part in the activities, go to theater here and locally, and even travel together. We decided that we shouldn't be thinking about when we're ready. We really were ready. So we got serious. We knew that we wanted a continuing care community. We wanted a place with lots of activities. We wanted a place that wasn't so big that we would be only a number. We wanted to be a name. It wasn't hard once we found Woodland Pond. We made our decision that Woodland Pond was the place that we wanted to live. So the next few months were hectic, to say the least. We sold our 2,500 square foot home in Tuxedo, where we had lived for 40 years. We downsized to an 1,100 square foot apartment. Interestingly, we realized that 3 of the 4 bedrooms were never used now that our kids were living other places. And we hardly ever used our living room and our dining room except when we had friends for dinner or for a party. And since we had both retired 20 years before, the office was catching dust. So we lived in about 1,000 square feet most of the time. The rest of the house was really surplus. So here we are, a year and a half later. We're settled into a new life. We're involved in yoga, bridge, hiking, finance committee, where I'm the secretary now, a book group, memoir group, Scrabble, current events. There's so many different activities to choose. And here is one interesting fact. Our library is the largest in the CRCs in New York, with over 6,000 volumes. And it's open 24/7. So Woodland Pond is just a great place to live. Come join us.
Here's a little different take. Let me tell you a story. A story that I never thought I would tell because I never thought it would happen. I play Scrabble with 2 women on it every Friday morning. One of them is 78 years old. I'll be 87 this month. And we're the kids. Because the gal that plays with us had our 100th birthday I think it was in March. We're the kids. And she, Marion, wins occasionally by putting all of her tiles on the table and on the board and collecting 50 points. She's an amazing person, but there are other people here that are the similar age and are in really good condition. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. The part that Caroline mentioned, we lived in a house for 40 years down in Tuxedo. We had a cohort of friends then when we first came here or there, and those friends over that 40 years disappeared. They went to, their kids grew up, they had grandchildren, our friends started to move away to live with closer to their children. Some of them just wanted to be in a warmer climate, some of them are just gone. I lost all of my male friends to movement, for the most part from moving away. When I came here, I didn't know what to expect. But what I found was that there are 45 men that I see every day, every week, that are some of whom are going to be my best friends for the rest of our lives. When I go to the pub for lunch every once in a while, I know that if Lionel is there, I'm going to come away knowing something that I never knew before. I know that if Al's there, we're going to sit down and laugh for 45 minutes. I know that if Saw's there, there's going to be some information that I know that's going to be amplified for me. It's that kind of a place. It's that kind of a place. And we live here and are really happy with Woodland Pond.
Hi, I'm Wayne Lavender. My story is a little different. I came from New York City, and I had a practice, a therapy practice for decades, a half century in Brooklyn, and I thought I'm going to go retire at 77 and then move from the city up here. I checked out CCRCs along the East Coast, and I had friends who had moved to some of them. And that library that was talked about was one of the things that was shocking to me. I saw other CCRCs where there were 100 books or 200 books. We have 50 books just by people who live here, and there's 6,000 altogether. I thought maybe it would be difficult to make the transition out of the city and the culture aspects of New York City. Not a problem. First of all, there's a bus 1 mile away, and for about $30 round trip, in an hour and 45 minutes each way, we go nonstop to Midtown Manhattan. So every now and then I go into the city. It doesn't make sense to drive. I don't have a garage anymore, and it's very convenient. And I can still have some little tie to not just the city, but to people who I'm close to who are still in the city. There's opportunities for learning here, not just for, I still see a few patients in my office, my apartment, just to keep myself fresh. Join many activities here that have been talked about. There's much to keep one stimulated. I take lifelong learning courses. They're available here, and faculty from SUNY New Paltz and Vassar and Bard and so on. So I really feel like the cultural aspect is not a problem, and I don't feel disconnected from the city, but I certainly feel that this Exurbia is perfect. The weekend house I had in rural Pennsylvania, it's not the kind of place one would have like to be during COVID or when one is older anyway. It's isolated. Whatever the natural beauty. We got the natural beauty here, as I'm sure you've all noticed. Both immediate beauty in the gardens and such, and then of course the gunks and the Catskills nearby. The last thing I want to say is that there's cultural events here in our auditorium and around, with musical or art or lectures or meetings, whatever. But also, I sometimes join the bus, sign up, and go to classical music concerts at Bard, or jazz concerts in Woodstock, or all kinds of musical events, or walks, or dinners at all the various areas nearby. So this fills the bill.
Hello, my name is Libby Ross, and my husband and I have been here for almost 7 years now. And I think my main message is that there's no one way to be here, as you've heard from the others as well. And Wayne, you've stolen a lot of my thunder. But that's because I'm a musician. Music is really important to me, and especially the piano. So that's sort of the core of my life. And every day I'm at the piano. I'm still taking lessons. I'm able to do that at the local college. In addition to that, and a great surprise to me, my next door, I live in a cottage here, and my next door neighbor is a professional pianist. So what a coincidence. So she and I play 4-hand piano every week too, which is a great joy to me. And as Wayne mentioned, we have 3 major colleges in the area. SUNY New Paltz here in New Paltz, Bard, and Vassar. And all of them give concerts for the community. The Woodland Pond bus is an important part of accessibility for us. Perhaps 10 different events in the community each month are identified by the residents for the bus trips. And you can influence that, anything you particularly would like to do. It's very nice to be driven to a concert and having the bus waiting there to take you home when you come back. My husband is not fully retired, so he still works collaboratively by the Zoom calls and still writing articles. And he, as Paul mentioned already, is a woodworker and loves to spend time in that marvelous woodworking room with Paul and other devoted crazy guys. So it's a very comfortable place to be. No matter what your interest is, you'll find people who share those interests. The last thing I want to say is that I think I have made some of the best friends here that I've ever had in my life, and I really treasure that as a very important part of this community. Thank you.
Hi, I have to, my name's Maddie Lee, and I came here with my husband 10 years ago, so I think I qualify as a veteran. But I have to say about Libby's husband and also about Paul, who was our first speaker, that they are famous for wanting to help you or fix things. And so occasionally people will say, quick, break something. They're looking for something to do. Okay, my job today is to talk about dishwashers and death. I was on one of the earlier panels here, and I noticed that none of us mentioned dying. And that seemed wrong to me, because many of you sitting out there are not thinking about it. We were certainly not thinking about it, my husband and I, when we came here. We were never going to die, or if we did, we would walk off into the sunset together and slowly blur and become, I don't know, clouds of gold. So let's start with a dishwasher. I live in a cottage. One morning, when I went to get the dishes out of the dishwasher, there was this rather disgusting puddle at the bottom of the dishwasher, indicating to me that it had not been draining well for some time. And I called. Now, I lived in New York City, right in Manhattan, and we had a super and we had a maintenance guy, and it was one of the things I was sure I was going to miss. I called. Within about an hour, 2 guys from the staff here were there going, I think I'm going to try that, and it wasn't working. They said, I'm sorry, we're going to have to replace it. And then they left. Half an hour later, I'm not making this up, they arrived with a brand new dishwasher, took the old one out, installed the new one, and I realized we had made a really good choice moving here. Okay, so about death. My husband Martin died 4 years ago. The first 4 or 5 years we were here, he was fine and we had a wonderful time. You couldn't ask for better care than he received. He was in skilled nursing, 10 minutes walk from my front door. It's available to you 24 hours a day. There are no visiting hours. There are no checks and security checks at the door because there's general security at Woodland Pine. I can't describe in full how caring and attentive and loving the care was that he got here, and the care for me as I had to watch it happen. But here's a crowning statement. I know many of you, if you're thinking about it seriously, are worried about losing your friends. Maybe you've already started losing your friends. Maybe they just moved away, or maybe they died. And everybody worries that they won't meet people like that. And it's true, you meet different people. 3 women were with me when Martin died. 2 of them are here today. I didn't call them. One of them noticed something about the way my car was parked, something about the fact that my coffee was still on the table, and she just came. Now, that wouldn't have happened to me in New York with all of my best friends. They wouldn't have been able to get across town, I wouldn't have been able to reach them, it wouldn't have been convenient, who knows. But that's a tribute both to Woodland Pond because of the quality of the care and also to the kind of friends you make.
Hi everybody, would you be surprised if I told you that everybody on this dais is a paid hired actor? Well, they're not. They're all residents, and I'm a resident too. A very happy resident for the last 12 years. My name is Dick Barry. As I say, they've been very, very happy years and also very productive years. I've had a second career as a writer, and 10 of my 15 published books were written right here in Woodland Pond. In my 70th birthday, I took a self-assessment, and I discovered that, well, I was divorced, my children were deceased, I had no family, and I was very concerned about what was my future going to be? Was it going to be from one place to another if I needed care? And that's when I suddenly decided to explore CCRCs. I did a lot of research. I visited 5 of them, and as has already been mentioned by so many of my delightful friends here, Woodland Pond just won hands down. Not only for its beautiful surroundings, for its magnificent library. Did we mention the pool? I'm a lap swimmer. The pool is marvelous. Go take a look at it. In the winter time, for the first 6 years that I was here, I would winter in Puerto Rico. All I had to do was pack a bag and close the door, and I didn't have any worries. Everything was taken care of for me. One of the most important attractions of Woodland Pond was the fact that all the rooms in the 3 other areas of our health center are private rooms. And in the other 4 CCRCs, the only thing they guaranteed was semi-private rooms. I did not want to be in a semi-private room. That was very, very important to me. I completed the financial page. that was usually in a prospective residence folder. And I found that there was very little difference between what I was currently spending for all of my various costs versus what the monthly maintenance bill would be. I want to stress something that I don't think has yet been mentioned, and that is that many of our residents, and perhaps many of you, have been very active in civics affair in your community. And here at Woodland Pond, we have many committees. We have a total of 13 committees, and they cover just about every aspect of life in Woodland Pond. And we give advice and counsel to the management. And believe me, they listen to us, they heed what we say, and they often act on what we advise them to do. We have a superb residence council. Mary was once the president of that wonderful organization. And they are elected by the residents. That's strictly a resident group. We also have the distinction of having 2 board members who are residents. I have the honor of being one of them. Unlike many CCRCs who do not allow residents to serve on the board, here we not only serve on the board, but we have full voting privileges, which is also a great exception, because many CCRCs that do allow residents do not allow them to have voting privileges. So that's just a distinct indication of the active participation that you can have in determining the ongoing welfare of this community. I know that you're familiar with the acronym of CPR, cardiovascular cardiopulmonary resuscitation. I have a personal response to that acronym. The C stands for I'm connected. I'm connected to a vital, vibrant, caring community. The P stands for I'm protected. I'm protected for all my needs that may come to me in the future. And the R stands for I'm respected. I'm respected no matter what age I am. I'm respected by my caring fellow residents. I'm respected by the management, which they demonstrate every day. And I'm even respected by my fellow board members with whom I've been serving for the last 7 years. I feel this place is like a cruise ship that never leaves port. And I invite you to come and join the good ship Woodland Pond. Come join us and have a good, full, and happy life. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Lunch will be coming out shortly. Just wanted to see if anyone has any questions for our panel of residents. Oh, we'll go this way first.
One observation and one question. Whether you left out Marist College. The other observation is the panel is slightly over 50% men, and the audience is like 90% women. Anybody have any observations to go with that? Why?
Well, but are you complaining about that?
Well, what have you done with all the women, guys?
I formed a harem.
He's not kidding.
Are there any charges for the classes or activities?
No.
They are all included.
How long is the waiting
We do have waiting lists. The wait time depends on what you're waiting for. So if you're looking for a standard size apartment, roughly 6 months or so, larger apartment, cottage homes, definitely longer than that.
Like
the trend over the past few years to get the larger apartments and the cottages has been to start off in an available standard size apartment. Whether that means living in that standard size apartment while you wait or living at home while you wait.
What is the life care cost?
So Life Care has a rate for a single person taking it, which is $141,000, or a couple rate of $209,000 if two people are taking it at the same time. And those rates are adjusted on an annual basis, so that is for 2023. Any?
It's a simple question. When the buses are scheduled, how big are the buses? How many people can get on the bus?
So there's a bus that's about 10 people big, and there's a bus that's about 12 people big, and what's the biggest bus? Does anyone know? 14? Yeah, so they're fairly small.
And is it hard to get a reservation on the bus for one of the shows?
It's a sign up, first come, first serve. What I do is when the trip list comes out on my computer, I immediately read it. If there's anything that I want to go on, I immediately call the concierge and they go on the bus. So, the capacity is limited, but you can, the other thing you can do is carpool. If there's isn't room on the bus, people often get together and share rides.
Plus they have a waiting list, so that, for example, yesterday I found out that for a concert I wanted to go to, the Bachfest thing coming up, I'll be out of town for a few days, so I got canceled, and they went to the waiting list, and somebody else would take my place. So they don't like there to be empty spots on the bus, because there are often people who really rather, like I do now, get a ride in the bus and not worry about figuring out where to deal with the roads and the parking late at night.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious as to whether there are people here that are not like you, that are much more kind of introverted and not always, doing signaling things. Which it appeals to me very much what you were talking about. But I'm just curious as to whether there are people on the other side.
Absolutely, there are. And this is also possibly part of the problem too, that there are people that tend to be more reclusive, and especially this was exacerbated by COVID. So everybody is aware of this, and the administration is very concerned about it too, and a great deal of thought is addressing that issue.
I want to say a little something for recluses, because as Dick mentioned, when I got here, I was still full of you-know-what and vinegar, and I was part of the original Residents' Council, and I helped draft the bylaws. I still lead two discussion groups. One is called Loss in Literature, and one is a short story reading group. And other than that, I don't do so much anymore. There's a lot of, I sing the Pondoliers, and I do that too. There is enough room here for any kind of approach. I remember in my early years saying to somebody that I just met at lunch, do you get out much? No. Do you have a husband? No, I'm a widow. Do you have children? No, I don't. And I thought, what do I do now? And I said, are there any games you enjoy? Because we had just started a poker game. And she said, yes, solitaire. I do want to mention that they check in on you every day to see whether you are alive. They don't like to put it that way. They call and say, they're just calling to find out how you are. So I answer the phone and I say, I'm not dead yet. Thank you for calling.
Okay, I'll take your question and then go back.
I believe when Woodland Pond first opened, it was connected with the hospital in Kingston. And my
understanding is that that is no longer, but I also have a question of, so I would like to know why that happened and what that means in terms of the strength of the corporation. And also I'd like to know what hospital you are connected with in terms of, you said someone had to go to the hospital. What hospital do you go to? Is it Kingston, Vassar, or Northern Dutchess?
Up until 2016, you're correct. We were part of what was called the Health Alliance, which was we were sponsored and built by the Kingston Hospital and the other one other hospital. Was it called St. Benedict's?
Benedictine.
Anyway, there were two hospitals. Excuse me. But then in 2016, those two hospitals became aligned with a large consortium of hospitals down in Westchester, which did not want to have a CCRC as part of their organization. So we became an independent entity, and we've been flourishing ever since. So I believe that answers your question. In terms of the hospitals, there is no direct connection with any hospital. Within a certain number of miles, you have your choice of going to Poughkeepsie, going to Kingston, and the hospitals that are in that area.
Thank you.
Northern Dutchess. If you have any breath left in your body when they're carrying you out, say, take me to Northern Dutchess.
Amen. I agree. And not Kingston.
I have so many questions. One was about the transportation to medical and to shopping. How does that work?
There are somebody. Is there anybody who uses?
When I had cataract operations, I was driven to, waited for, and then brought back here. I said, no, I think for my second follow-up, I can drive in my car. They said, oh no. There's shopping, bus for shopping 2 days a week here in New Paltz, and I think, and then 2 days in Poughkeepsie, 1 day in Kingston, no, 1 day in Poughkeepsie. And also special arrangements are made for medical appointments, also individual appointments.
About driving, do you somehow evaluate the residents' capacity to drive? Does the time come when you can't do that anymore? And
I think that's a sore subject, and but there is no, as far as I'm aware, there is no official policy. We have 2 cars, my husband and I, and I've never heard from anyone in the administration about any issue with the car. We make our own decisions about it, and as far as driving capability, it's very much an individual decision. There's no oversight on the part of the administration that I'm aware of.
We have a resident service director here, so for any residents that have a concern or any residents that see a concern about another resident, there is someone that you can both consult with and talk to. She would then talk with the resident, their family, and have them maybe consult with their doctor about what they should and shouldn't, possibly doing or lifestyle changes.
Well, what if you lose the capacity to be a good driver and you're not aware of it? What happens?
I mean,
You just keep driving until you get in an accident or what? And I'm assuming you live by yourself, let's say.
Yeah, that sort of situation, if somebody has a concern, whether it's driving or anything health related in general, those sort of things that go on at Woodland Pond, they really don't go unnoticed. Either another resident will see something, the resident themselves will notice changes, a staff member will notice changes, and we have a whole care plan team that's put into action when something like that happens for your safety, for other safety. I mean, that's the #1 priority at Woodland Pond. So you would have a whole team coordinating with you and working with you and what's going on and try to, help whatever the situation is. We're not DMV, we can't restrict your license, but we can certainly, talk to you about whatever medical situation might be going on and get doctors involved and so on.
We first visited Woodland Pond about 10 years ago, and since then I've been nourishing the thought about this walkway through the woods to New Pops. Is this a faulty memory or does it exist still?
The walkway?
Is the question about walking from town to Woodland Pond?
Yeah, through.
We could do it through the Millbrook Preserve.
Through woods.
The walkway on the Hudson?
No,
No.
from here to New Pops.
From here to New Pops. You walk Millbrook.
You want the mic? Where's the mic?
There are people here who walk regularly through the Millbrook Preserve downtown daily. There are signs on the trails that will, tell you how to go. I made every one of them. So, and the entrance is right down George Dinston Way. Yes, if you are a walker and you want to go up to the Mohawk Mountain House, you can get a free day pass at the desk and use it in the Mohawk Preserve as well as the trails in the Mohawk Mountain House.
I live part-time in New York City, and that's where my general care physician is. And I'm wondering if I was here, I guess I would want to find a physician in this area. Does Woodland Pond have recommendations for doctors in this area? I also wanted to ask one other thing about if one goes from independent living, like in a cottage or an apartment, and then needs to go into some other unit for assisted living or medical care, does the monthly fee change in some way at that point?
I'll take this one. So for anyone that comes here from out of the local area, the residents put together a preferred physician list. So we have a list. We also have a nurse practitioner right here at Woodland Pond that you could designate as your primary physician and see a doctor right at Woodland Pond. So there's a couple options for that. As far as monthly fees changing, if you have our life care plan, then no. You will pay just about what you're paying for independent living, regardless how much care you ever need in the future, regardless of how long you need that care. There's just a couple adjustments for the meal allowance. Independent living has a limited dining allowance that's monthly. If you had to move into any of our higher levels of care, we now provide you with 3 meals a day plus snacks in between. So there's a little difference with the meals. And then obviously annual cost of living adjustments, but you pretty much pay what you're paying for independent living, and it protects you from the market rates for assisted living, skilled nursing, or memory care. If you did not take our life care plan, some people choose to not opt for it if they have their own private long-term care insurance, or some people may not be medically approved to take the life care plan. Then you do get a limited amount of free days in our health center. After which, if they're exhausted, you would either use your long-term care benefits or you would pay privately, and that your rate would then be adjusted to the market rate for whichever level of care you're receiving.
Just quickly about
I've been living in Woodland Pond for over a year, a little bit over a year, and it took me a while to get adjusted, I must admit that. but I really like it and I find there is so much going on. Take music, for example. Not only do we have the Pondoliers and people who play various musical instruments to entertain us and do different concerts, but once a week, I don't know if it goes on forever, but it has been going on for a long time, the operas are shown on TV, and they are narrated beforehand by someone very informed about the opera that we're going to see. It's a wonderful gift. And there's no charge, it's right there. And we just walk downstairs or wherever your apartment is, and you walk over to it. One other very nice thing that I find, I still have a car and I drive, but I'm regulating myself, and I don't drive at night, and I don't drive distances. And with regard to, I could, but I choose not to. I don't feel as safe as I was several years ago. I had a medical appointment a couple of days ago, and what did I do? I could have driven myself over to Poughkeepsie where the doctor was, but instead I made an appointment to have one of the buses drive me. Turned out I was the only passenger. So the guy whose job it was to drive the bus just drove me to the doctor's office, and he gave me his card. He said, when you're finished, give me a call, and I'll be there for you. And I thought that was just very helpful.
Thank you, Addie.
My question is the $10,000 entrance fee. How long is that, or not the entrance fee, what is it, the reservation deposit? How long is that good for?
There is no limit to how long it's good for, so you can sit on our waiting list for as long as you want to. If we reach you on the list and you're not ready, there's no penalty. If you say I'm not ready yet, you can continue to wait on the list. And it's 100% refundable. So that deposit is either applied to your entrance fee plus interest whenever you're ready to come in, or it's returned to you plus interest if you change your mind for whatever the reason is.
So if I got caught and then I decided, just a quick, is there adjustment made in your entrance fee?
So the question is, if she had started off in a cottage home and then decided it's too large and she wants to downsize, would there be an adjustment in the entrance fee? The answer to that would depend on when you decided the cottage is too big for you and what type of refund plan that you have. Because what we would do in a situation like that, whenever you decide you want to downsize, we would compare the value of your plan to what the current rate is for what you're looking at to downsize into. So if it's been a few years, the chance is there is no refund, available on that part.
Your monthly fee changes every year according to
Yes, monthly service fees are adjusted on an annual basis. We typically know what the rates would be sometime in November-ish and let all the residents know and anyone that's contemplating being a resident. And then it is, we keep them as low as possible. It's adjusted by New York State Department of Finance. But they do typically, go in the upward direction instead of down.
And then if I give you the $10,000, then I get the medical application, I do that all now, but I gave you the $10,000.
She's asking about how to join the wait list. So when you join the wait list, there's a bunch on your table. There is a paper that talks about steps to join the wait list. We do not officially add you until all of your steps are complete. So yes, you leave a deposit, but you also have to complete the medical application and the financial applications and obviously get approved before we officially add you to the list.
But then if you call me and I don't, and say, I'm in the process of selling my house, it might be another 6 months, you'll still keep on waiting.
Yes, if you are in the process of selling your home and we offer you an apartment, you can continue to decline an available apartment and wait for the next until you're ready.
Just to add on to what that lady was asking, what percent have you seen over the years for the monthly cost to go up? I know it's a moving target, but I mean, we talking 2% a year, 10% a year?
Yeah. So historically, we have been 4% or under. There have been years where it's been a 2.5. Last year, we did go up to 5% for the first time ever because of everything going on in the economy. You're welcome.
It averages out about 3%. all?
3% in average over the past 14 years.
Since we're talking about money, and we all know it's expensive, is there such a thing as scholarships? No? Okay. Does it feel like money becomes, I'm sitting here feeling guilty that I can afford this, and so many people can't afford it. Would that be uncommon, a feeling?
I think that varies a lot from here to there. There also is a tax deductible piece, both to the life care, it's 100% tax deductible. And in the monthly, it's like 25% or so, depending on the plan that people decide. Something I had to get in for anybody here who lives in the city, they shovel the snow here like crazy. They don't even let you wipe the snow off your car. It reflects their attentiveness and their concern and worry that we don't fall and have consequences.
I wanna really stress that once you are accepted as a resident at Woodland Park, you can never be evicted, regardless of what your financial circumstances become. Should your 401k portfolio drop down significantly, whatever financial vicissitudes you experience, you can never be evicted from Woodland Park.
Even if you're not paid.
That is correct. Even if you, for any unforeseeable reason, run out of money, we cannot kick you out. If you chose a refundable entrance fee plan, we can use your refund to pay towards your expenses. If that's exhausted, you're still covered by Woodland Pond. You're still, the same care is provided to you, and you live here, as long as you'd like.
This is directed inspired by the handout we got today, Life Care, the Life Care Advantage. The second Q&A, in the last sentence, as long as you maintain the required level of health insurance, your Woodland Pond costs will not change in other ways because Life Care will protect you. So what is the required level of health insurance?
So we require you to have Medicare Part A and B and a supplemental plan, or Medicare Advantage.
Thank you. It's along the same line. So if you're in, say, assisted living or memory care and you run out of your own assets, is there someone here who can help me, since I won't be able to do it myself, switch from the payments to Medicaid or Medicare? I mean, obviously I won't be able to do it myself, so how does that work? Is there somebody here who takes care of that?
Yes, there is. So when you're coming in now, the protection of the contract applies to independent living residents. So that would be, you're protected by it as long as you start off as an independent living resident, which is currently the only way to come into Woodland Pond, since we are continuously sold out here. But yes, we do have our department, our finance director who would help you apply for Medicaid. We have a resident service director that would facilitate all those things with you. And we take your power of attorney prior to move-in, so if something happens to your health, we know who to contact from day one. You're welcome.
I have a lot of questions. Are we going to see any apartments today?
So if you look around and see, there's a lot of people here today. Group tours are very difficult. I would suggest to sign up on the appointment request sheet if you're interested in coming back for a private visit, and we can show you an apartment. Okay, or if any of these lovely residents wanted to walk around with you everywhere, and afterwards, they're welcome to as well.
And also, can we see the assisted living section? It said on the website there are no tours of it, but it'd be good to be able to see it at some point before.
Yes, we do tours of our health center. The language on our website is strictly there for those that are looking to move into assisted living, because we do not want to tour those people and give them the false reality that they would be able to move into our assisted living facility if they're not an independent living resident. If you are interested in touring any of the higher levels of care, you can certainly indicate that on your appointment request as well, and we can set that up privately.
Shan, I want to be obnoxious. We just had the Department of Health survey where we were deficiency free for skilled nursing. We met, I'm a leader here, and we met with the Department of Health, and these young ladies that were here for this said that this is where they want to come when they retire. And they had never been to a place like this before. This is in the health center, not independent living, because I take care of both. And they said to us, that was the largest compliment, to say that you have zero deficiencies. They found nothing. And on top of it, they prayed that their family was kind enough to send them to Woodland Pond.
Yes, absolutely, no, it's huge. And those types of surveys, they are unannounced, they're random, and they look at everything.
At the housekeeping, the bi-weekly housekeeping, does that mean every other week?
Yes.
Okay, and what does that cover? What do they do?
They fully clean your entire apartment.
Uh-huh.
They change your sheets every week, actually.
So in the meantime, you're responsible for cleaning your own dishes and toilet and everything. Yes. Okay. And
you can actually request additional housekeeping for a specific fee based on what you're looking for.
Oh,
you can do that. That is an option.
And how much is a one bedroom with den? Do you have actual? There's just a range listed on the website, and I don't think I couldn't find that. So
I can get you sheets afterwards. Yeah, but we put a range on the sheet specifically because there's 72 different plans available, so we don't want to overwhelm you with too much information at one time, but we can certainly get you details if you're interested. Okay?
I'm confused with where Life Care Advantage ties in with all the continual care you keep talking about. Is all we're talking about assume that you have paid additional for Life Care Advantage?
No, so in order to come to Woodland Pond, you have to pay an entrance fee. That allows you to enter into Woodland Pond, you sign the contract with us that will provide the care for you. And then Life Care goes along with that. So Life Care could be an addition, it could be an option, you may not want it if you have your own long-term care. But what the Life Care component does, it controls your monthly service fee for life. So it protects you from all the market rates for all the higher levels of care. But it goes along with your entrance fee. You can't just take Life Care.
And about what does Life Care cost? You said something about $100,000 once as you sign up?
Yes, Life Care is a one-time fee. It's currently $141,000 for a single person taking it, or $209,000 for a couple taking it. Any more questions?
A friend of mine asked me to find out if somebody doesn't have enough to, let's say, the full fee for an apartment or a cottage, probably the parking, could get like a mortgage, like, no, you don't do that. Okay, I do.
Yeah, so if somebody has an existing property and they want to close on their apartment at Woodland Pond, you cannot apply for a mortgage for Woodland Pond because there's no title transfer. You're technically a tenant when you're coming to Woodland Pond. What some people have done is they can take out home equity, they can do a bridge loan through their existing property if they're, waiting for it to sell, and apply that towards their entrance fee here. Any more questions?
I was just gonna ask if you have a financial statement or if there's access to it on the website or something.
There is. We have our audited financials. They're available for public viewing. They can be sent out, so I can certainly do that.
How many times did you say they clean your apartment or your house?
So weekly, they will change your bed linens for you. And then bi-weekly, they will provide housekeeping and fully clean your entire apartment. And then they do an annual deep cleaning as well once a year with window washing and all the works. You have a washer and dryer in your apartment or cottage. So personal laundry is typically done by the residents, but then again, there are additional housekeeping requests that you can have for a fee, depending on what you're looking for.
How long does it take to process the application once you've got all the information? We're still waiting on one doctor.
Waitlist application approval does not typically take long at all here, maybe a day or so. The only holdback would be is if we're waiting for additional information from a physician, then we're waiting for a doctor to get back to us. Just a day or so. Once we have all of our information, we can get an answer to you very quickly. All right, enjoy lunch, everybody. We can have more questions afterwards if you have any.